friends, and happy Pride Month. I know that I'm giving this video to you guys towards the end of Pride Month, but I had a very busy June. And I did want to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community out there by reading some queer books. I have selected the books that I want to read for this video. The first book I want to read is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. This is a book that I bought a while ago, and I have not been hearing good reviews on this book, so that makes me a little bit nervous. This is a sapphic vampire love story based on Carmilla, but the thing is, I don't know what the story of Carmilla is. I'm just really hoping it gives a Dowry of Blood vibes. Dowry of Blood was 5 stars for me. I just really loved the writing in that book. But this one, I think is going to be a love story between Carmilla and a teacher or Carmilla and a student. I just love the way that S.T. Gibson writes romance into her books. And I'm saying that after only reading one S.T. Gibson book, which is The Dowry of Blood, obviously. But this one makes me nervous because it's not been getting great reviews. Out of all the books I've chosen for this vlog, this one I don't have high hopes for. And then the next book I want to read is Second Rebel. This is the second book in the First Sisters trilogy. I read the First Sister quite a while ago, but what I really liked about this book is that it is a sci-fi heavy world building type of book, and I have not been reaching for a lot of sci-fi lately, and I figured if I'm going to read a sci-fi, might as well be queer. The best way to describe this book is like, think of Dune, but without all of the prophecies and like a magic system. We're really following 3 characters, at least in the previous book. So the first one is Hero, who is a non-binary character, and then we have Leto, who is a duelist and is Hero's like paired partner, and then we're following the first sister, who's given her name Astrid in the previous book, and she's a part of this group called like the Motherhood. So think of like the Ben Gesserit and Dune, but we're really set on 2 different warring factions. So we have the Ikari, who are the bad guys, so to speak, and then we have Ceres, who are the good guys, and then we're following a third group, which is called the Astros, who are these people who have been tested and oppressed over many years. And so it's kind of like a rebellion, take down the bad guys kind of book. But I really like this because in the previous book there was some lesbian romance. And then we have Hero, who is the non-binary character, and their storyline is, I feel like, very interesting in the previous book. And Hero is out for revenge. And then the last book I want to pick up, which I don't own, is Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. This is a Regency sapphic romance. It's been sold to me as Parent Trap, but in the Regency era. But we're following Beth and Gwen, who are trying to like set up their parents, but then they fall in love with each other, as I believe what the book is about. Out of everything, I probably have high hopes for the Second Rebel because I already know that I like that series. And then Don't Want You Like a Best Friend because it is sapphic Regency romance, and I love me some Regency books. I think I'm going to start with An Education in Malice first. So let's get started with the reading. Guys, the first book I have decided to read for this vlog is An Education in Malice. I have had this book on my bookshelves for quite a while. I don't remember when I bought it, but I think I bought it a little after it was released. And I have just not gotten to this one because of all the bad reviews that I was hearing about this. The audiobook is really short. It's 8 hours, and I usually listen to my audiobooks at 2 times speed, so it was really just like 4 hours. And let me tell you, when I went into this book with low expectations, and I ended up with a 5-star read. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, so let's rewind for a little bit. What is this book about? This book is a Carmilla retelling, and I put that in air quotes because I'm going to explain that a little bit later. But we are following this gothic, dark academic story. So we're following Laura. She is from the South, and she moves to St. Perpetua's College for Women. And this is where she meets Carmilla, which is another student, and the Professor de la Faton. I'm going to say that name wrong, so I'm just going to call her the Professor from here on out. The Professor is a really well-known poet, person within like the English literature community. And there is an inappropriate relationship between the Professor and Carmilla. The Professor is the one that is actually revealed to be the vampire. But in the story, we're mainly following Carmilla and Laura as they grow closer together and they fall in love throughout the book. So there is the vampire aspect where the Professor is a toxic professor and just like a toxic person and the way that she controls Carmilla. But then she falls in love with Laura, and I really love that part of the story. Now, this book has gotten some crazy low ratings from people who have read it, but I'm giving it 5 stars, which like I said before, unpopular opinion. I think what worked for me is because I picked up this book having super low expectations. My expectations might as well have been in hell. The other reason why I think this worked for me is because I don't know the original story of Carmilla. I think the Carmilla story is like a classic novel or a classic book. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know it, which is why I went into this thinking, okay, I'm just gonna read a story about some lady vampires falling in love. And I didn't have the preconceived notion of Carmilla, the original story, in my head. The other issue that I've seen with this book is that people have been saying that it has no plot. And I cannot disagree more. Because the other thing is just A Dowry of Blood is another book that just like you relied on the vibes. This one is you're relying on the vibes. It does have a bit of a plot, but it's kind of in the background. It's there, but we don't really hear about it a lot. Just know that this is a very vibey book. It has the same themes as A Dowry of Blood, but I don't want to say watered down, but just like drill down a little bit and then updated to make it more modern. The other thing that you need to know about this book is if you're going into this expecting A Dowry of Blood writing, like lyrical, poetic, that kind of writing, that is not this. The writing here is very simplistic. It does have a lot of poetry in here, but do not expect A Dowry of Blood writing, which is why I think this worked for me, because I don't typically like flowery writing, purple prose. I don't really like it. The story of A Dowry of Blood was just so compelling to me, which is why I like that and I gave that one 5 stars. But this I feel like was more my speed. The other issue that I've seen people have been saying why they're hating on this book is because of the marketing. They said the marketing was giving you a great female romance. It was gonna be poetic. It was a Carmilla retelling. And I would just want to say, like, take that marketing and chuck it right out the window and go into this with fresh eyes and don't expect it to be Dowry of Blood. Because if you set your expectations lower, I think you'll enjoy this book a lot more. And like, I also don't follow any authors on Instagram. I don't get any newsletters from authors. The only reason I heard about this book is because I watch a lot of BookTube. Obviously, as a BookTuber, that's how I found out about new books, which is how I found out about this book. So all the marketing that this team was putting out there, I didn't hear none of it. So I really went in with fresh eyes. So I'm telling you now, if you want to pick up this book, set your expectations low and listen to what I'm telling you. And if you do that, I think you will actually enjoy this book. I read this book in less than a day. Like literally the world could be burning around me and I wouldn't have noticed because I was sucked in. I was hooked by the story. I was hooked by the characters. The spicy scenes were on point. I was here for it. I was here for every single thing that this book had to offer. Honestly, I thought I was gonna hate this book. Like I was fully ready to put this up on Panko Shop like, okay, bye-bye Education and Malice, but I'm actually going to keep this. Anywho, now that I have finished Education and Malice, I don't know what book I'm going to read next. So I'm gonna sit down and kind of figure it out and I will update you on what I will read in the next clip. Okay, after reading An Education in Malice, which was a sapphic love story, like sapphic vampire love story, I was humming and hawing a bit about what I should read next for this vlog. And I think I'm gonna read Second Rebel, which is obviously the sequel to The First Sister. First Sister, the way that I would describe it is Dune, but make it queer. Because in The First Sister, we had some lesbian love and then there's a non-binary character in that book. So I feel like I really hope that this book continues along exploring those themes, but also putting it in like the sci-fi setting. I'm also really excited to see what happens in the rest of the book because it was left off on a bit of a cliffhanger as to what was going on with a specific like sect of people. So I'm excited to pick this one up. Today is Friday, June 21st, and 10 friends of mine, we're planning on going up to this lake for a little friends vacation. It is giving happy place, but no drama, no relationships, none of that stuff. And we're planning on staying there for the weekend. So we're gonna leave today and we rented out an Airbnb that has like 6 bedrooms. And then we're gonna leave Sunday evening. So it's just like the weekend, but I don't wanna bring this book and it's a big chunky. I do have the Kindle version that I borrowed from my library, so I could bring that. But the thing with this book is that because the world building is so vast, I don't know if my brain will attach on to all the concept and like the plot that's going on with this while I'm trying to read this like on the beach during our friend's vacation. So I'm thinking instead of picking this one up next, that I will pick up I Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Alban. I'm really bad at saying authors' names in every single one of my vlogs, but this is a Regency sapphic romance that I feel like because it's a romance, my brain might attach on to what's going on in the story versus that what's going on to the sci-fi novel. So I might just pick that one up next. I think the audiobook is super short. I think it's like about 5 hours long, and I will be able to speed through listening to that one on the car ride over to the lake and while on the beach. So I think that is what we're gonna pick up next. And then once I come back from my friend's vacation, I'll pick up Second Rebel. Hi guys, I am back from my friend's vacation. I did not record really much anything there, but if you want to check out the trip, I did post some stuff to Instagram and my Instagram is linked below. We were there for about 2.5 days. Being up in Lake Geneva was really nice. It did rain a lot, so unfortunately we're not able to spend any time on the beach. We spent most of the time like indoors into like little shops or diners or cafes or at the Airbnb that we rented. But I did do a lot of shopping while I was there, so we can do just like a mini haul of everything I got. One of the first shops we went to is this place called Something Sweet, and they're kind of like a candy chocolate store. I got two things while I was there. I got some chocolate covered mini graham crackers. So these are it. As you can see, I already ate a lot of these. The other thing I got were chocolate covered caramels. I love caramels, and so I saw this and I was like, yes, I would be buying that. And then the next place I went to was Lake Geneva Spice Company, and they were very much like a spice, you know, kind of in your kitchen, but they had also like soaps and lotions. The first thing I got was this cranberry peach vanilla body lotion bar. It smells very good, so I'm gonna keep that in my bathroom. And the next thing I got was this Love Spells handmade soap with olive oil and shea butter. So that's what that looked like. This also smells really good. I'll also be putting that into my bathroom. And then we also went to a winery to do a wine tasting. We got to taste 5 different wines: wet and right, dry, sweet. And then me and my friends, we rated them on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much I like them. I am a red wine girly, so the white wine I did not like. There was a specific white wine called Coltrane that was, oh, it was nasty. But I did end up selecting, as you can see there, the Hendrick. All their wine were named after like musicians. So this is the wine that I got. The place that we went to is called Studio Winery. I would highly recommend them. I will probably be saving this for a special occasion because this wine was locally farm grown there in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So this is a special occasion type of wine. And then the last place that I went to was this place called Jane. I don't know if this is a Lake Geneva thing or if this is a popular brand that you can find on like a website or whatever, but this is the bag. I only got 2 things. I don't know why it had to be in this big of a bag. The first thing I got is this really nice cardigan zip up sweater. This I think would be good for work or for like a nice outing occasion. It's also like very hefty. I can tell like the quality is there. I guess the brand is Weekend in Los Angeles, but the store itself was called Jane. And I got this in a size medium. I really like this. I feel like this is a cardigan zip up sweater that I can use for a lot of occasions. And then the next thing I got was very much a impulse buy. I could see this looking good on a lot of people. I don't know if it's gonna look good on me, but it is this sweater vest. It's very much giving grandma. I want to be in my grand millennial era, and this sweater vest, I feel like it would look good just like on its own, but then you could also wear like this color, this cream color, like long sleeve or a brown or a green long sleeve underneath it to make it a little bit warmer. This is a knitted fabric, and I love knitted things. Both this vest and that black sweater is something that I'm gonna have to wear in winter time, so it's gonna be quite a while until I decide to wear these. So the weekend was fun. Love spending time with friends, drinking, playing games. It was a good time. And then when I got back, I slept for like 4 hours straight because like when you're with friends, we were staying up until 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm an in bed at 9 p.m. kind of girly. So that was very much a struggle for me. The other exciting thing that I was expecting when I got back is my POPFLEX order. POPFLEX is having a sale. So I was excited for that POPFLEX order. I think I might need to zoom out to show you what I got. Okay, so the first thing I got from POPFLEX was this hoodie. It's very long. It's one that will like go over your butt, and I was been desperately looking for a long hoodie, and I could tell like the quality is really there with POPFLEX. This is the first time I've ever ordered anything from POPFLEX, but look, it's so long. And the next thing I got were these black booty shorts. I am gonna try and do my hot girl walk this summer, so I feel like this was a good purchase for that. And then the next thing I got was this fleece sweater. I got it in black. A lot of stuff that I own are in black. It's just the color of my heart.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I don't know how I feel about this one. I know that it's oversized, but I think that this is just absolutely gonna swallow me. So I don't know how I feel about this particular fleece hoodie sweater. Definitely this is something that I'm gonna have to wait to wear until the winter time or even in the fall. And then the last thing I got is this moto jacket. I feel like this would be really good when I go figure skating. I really like it. It's super cute. And then the next thing I got was this black bag. It is a Sherpa bag. I got this because I saw me and Mabel's do a video where she bought a bunch of stuff from POPFLEX and then she reviewed it. And this bag I was really excited for. This is definitely a winter bag. And then the last thing I got was this gigantic water bottle. It is bigger than my head. It does have a fruit infuser in it, which I don't think that I will be using, but I think it's good to have a water bottle this big. I don't think I'm gonna take this on my hot girl walk because it's so big. That's it. That's all the stuff I got from Lake Geneva and my POPFLEX order. Obviously not sponsored by any of these places I went to in Lake Geneva, and most definitely not sponsored by POPFLEX. Wish it was, because I find their stuff to be really cute. I will be wearing them, and maybe I'll give you like an update if I like it or not. I feel like the sizing is gonna be a little bit off. I should have sized down just by looking at it and like comparing it to me. But what you're here for is for the book update. I took Don't Want You Like a Best Friend on my trip to Lake Geneva, and every single time I sat down to read, my brain was just not comprehending. So I think I'm going to need to start that book from the beginning. It's not very long. The audiobook is like 5 hours long, so I feel like if I start it today, I could probably like finish it tomorrow. It's about like 6 o'clock now, so I'll probably start it tonight, and hopefully my reading comprehension will come back to me because it went right out the window when I was in Lake Geneva. I guess I'll update you guys once I am done reading that book. I have finished Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. I think I'm gonna have to give it 3 stars. Even when I got back from my friend's vacation to Lake Geneva, I thought my problem with the book was because I was on friend's vacation in Lake Geneva and I was distracted by 10 of my friends and everything we wanted to do in Lake Geneva. But I don't know if that is necessarily the case now since I've been back home and I've started all over reading that book. I also don't know if I told you what this book was about. So we're following Beth and Gwen. This is back in the Regency era. I think it's in the 1850s, and Beth needs to find a husband. She needs to get married because they are poor. And then we're following Gwen, who doesn't really need to get married. Her dad's got money. She's fine. She's not pressured. She's been out in society for a couple of seasons. And she's like, fine, I don't need a man. I don't need to get married. They meet at this ball and they notice each other's parents like each other, or they have some kind of attraction to each other. So Gwen is the one who has the single dad, and then Beth has the mom. And they're going to pull a Regency parent trap. But along the way, Beth and Gwen develop like a relationship with each other. And I'm gonna have to give this book 3 stars because I don't know if it was just like the writing or the story just wasn't clicking into my brain. This might be a case of right book, wrong time. Don't Want You Like a Best Friend is a book that I might consider rereading again in the future just to figure out if it really was the book or if it was me, because I really do think it was just me and I just picked this book up at the wrong time. Also, my hair right now, it's giving Shakira She-Wolf music video, getting a little bit curly because I just washed it, and that's not necessarily what I want to be giving right now. So I'm gonna fix my hair, but enough about that. The next book I picked up was Second Rebel. Now this is the second book in a sci-fi series, and I don't exactly remember how the last book left off, but I know that Leto and Hero have decided to go their separate ways. I think Leto and Hero are the 2 characters that in a relationship with each other, and then we have Astrid, who is a part of the Motherhood. So just think the Ben Gesserit from Dune, but without the supernatural powers. And they are like they're considered like deities or goddesses, and they help people pray, but they also run like a political faction within the Motherhood that impacts like Ceres. And then we have Lucinia, who I mentioned before is Leto's sister, and she gets embroiled in the warring factions because of her relationship with Leto. They're like, oh my god, she is a traitor to us. I am like 2/3 through this book, and if I'm being honest, right now it's sitting at a 3 stars. I just remember the first book, me just eating that up and just flipping through the pages. I think the most interesting parts of this book is when we're in Lucinia and Astrid's perspective. Hero's perspective is just very confusing to me, and then Leto, I don't really understand like the mission that he's on. I'm really here for Astrid and Lucinia and what's going on with their plot lines, but we'll see. My brain again is not quite grasping it. I think after this I need to switch to a different genre. I just think I need to switch to like romance or something, because my brain is like will not comprehend high concepts, world building. I think I just need to move on to romance after this. So we shall see on that end. But I'm probably gonna go fix my hair, and then I have to run to the pharmacy to pick up my meds, and then I will give you an update on how this ends and what my final standing is. I have finished the Second Rebel. I don't know if this lighting is quite flattering on me, and also I have fixed my hair now and it's not so frizzy. But I finished the second Rebel and I have conflicting feelings. Like, if I'm rating this just based on Lucinia and Astrid's story, 5 stars, 5 stars. But if I'm basing this on Hero and Leto's story, 2 stars. Because I just didn't really care for their journey into this book, and I really thought that some resolution was going to come out of the battle between the Akaris and Ceres and the Asters, but I feel like it just got more complicated. There was some backstabbing, there were some political movers that happened that I didn't see coming, which would normally for me that would be a good thing, because then it's like, oh, plot twist, my brain wasn't thinking ahead. But I was just kind of like, I want everyone to like each other. I think I'm going to settle on a 3 stars for now. I definitely will be picking up the 3rd book in this series, but maybe not for a while now. I think also my problem with this is because I let so much time pass in between when I read the first sister and the second Rebel that my brain was still getting up to speed as to what was happening. So I do unfortunately think that this is a me problem once again, but let me sit and think about it, and then I'll check up with you guys in the morning to give you a wrap up of all the books that I read for Pride Month. Good morning, you guys. Like I promised last night, I was gonna give you a wrap up to this video, and so here we are to do exactly that. I think I'm gonna start in reverse order that I read these books. So starting with the second Rebel, I think I'm gonna land on giving this a 3 stars. Like I said last night, if I was just rating Lucinia's and Astrid's storyline, 5 stars. But since we have Leto and Hero's storyline in here, those are more like 2 stars for me. And I really thought Lyndon A. Lewis was gonna give us like a quick recap at the beginning of the book, but she did not. And then we didn't really get as much as a relationship building between Hero and Leto like we did in the previous book. Like, you could tell that they were in love with each other and they would die for each other, but for some reason she just kept them apart this entire book. But what I did really enjoy was Astrid's plotline and her trying to take down the motherhood and all of the conniving political stuff that's happening there. So 3 stars for this one. I will pick up the last one. Don't remember what the last one is called, but I'm gonna try to pick up that one kind of maybe soon-ish so that everything that happened in this book doesn't immediately fall out of my brain. And then the next book I read was Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. And I really had high hopes for this book because it's a Regency romance, and Veronica Speedwell is one of my favorite series of all time, so I thought that this was going to be such a hit for me. I liked the concept of Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, and I did like the relationship between Beth and Gwen, but it felt too much like the writing of the Bridgerton series, which, like, I like the Bridgerton series, but the writing was a little bit too simplistic. I think I would have preferred more of kind of like how Deanna Rayburn writes her Regency romance books. But I think Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, I might reread that again in the future because, like I said before, I was just distracted by the vacay I went on with my friends, and it's probably should have waited until I got back from my vacation with my friends to like read that book and start it and really dive into it. So that is my fault. And then the last book I read for this video is An Education in Malice, which is a sapphic vampire story. I love this book. It's 5 stars for me. And before you type in the comment section about how bad this book is, it's not Diary of Blood, let me tell you why I like this book is because I didn't pay attention to any of the marketing. I don't know the original story of Carmilla. I liked the lyrical writing in Diary of Blood, but I also really like simplistic writing, which is what this is. So to me, this was my book because I went into this book with 0 expectations and I ended up loving it. That's a very unpopular opinion. Most people don't like this book because they're expecting a Diary of Blood level of writing, but I was not. So this is a 5-star book, and I really like the relationship between our 2 characters, Laura and Carmilla. So that is the video, you guys. I hope you like this vlog of me reading some queer books because I enjoyed it. I want to maybe make a bigger effort of reading more diverse books. That is all I have for you guys today. I will check in with another video with you guys next week. Bye!